Hi, my name is Cody McClary. I'm a doctor of physical therapy, and today I'm going to be talking about common wrist disorders. The most common ones we see are carpal tunnel, ulnar nerve entrapment, de Quervain's, and then tennis elbow and golfer's elbow, are kind of what they're known as. Golfer's elbow and tennis elbow are more commonly felt up here, but they have a lot to do with your wrist as well, so we'll talk about those as well. So carpal tunnel is probably the main one that a lot of people know of and hear of. So here's kind of what you'll feel if you have carpal tunnel. So carpal tunnel, there's a little tunnel that goes right on this side of your wrist that several nerves pass through, specifically your median nerve. So usually what you'll feel is you'll feel some numbness and tingling kind of throughout the middle of your palm, middle of your hand. Part of this finger and your middle finger get most of the numbness and tingling, as well as some pain associated with it as well. A lot of time that's going to be our people that are typing a lot. So, or if they place their wrist on a wrist pad, or if they have their wrist turned down like that while they type, you're kind of cutting off a little bit of blood supply to that nerve, and so you will feel those symptoms as well. So really you should have a fairly neutral wrist, maybe slightly extended, but mostly a fairly neutral wrist whenever you're typing. So if you're having to have your wrist down, or even if you're having to have your wrist up, whenever you're typing, usually you want to have it fairly neutral. Ulnar nerve entrapment is your ulnar nerve getting trapped. So you'll feel those symptoms more on the side of your arm, all the way into these two fingers right here. So primarily you'll feel it kind of down the side of the palm and then into this pinky finger, and then you'll feel it a little bit into this finger as well, just the way it kind of innervates those parts of your hand as well. Those, most commonly, it's a trap right here in your elbow, just where it runs through this little groove right there, and it kind of just gets trapped in there. And so there are several exercises that we can do to kind of help that, as well as doing soft tissue massage on different parts of your forearm here to help release that tissue a little bit. The other one is Finkelstein's, is the test that we do for, it's called de Quervain's. It's just a name that they made up for pain that comes right through here, right down into your thumb. So pain right there, and you can have it with typing, you can have it with gripping, squeezing, but a lot of times you feel it a lot. You would feel it a lot if you grabbed your thumb and tucked it in, and then kind of like if you're going to hammer down, if you're hammering down like that, that's called Finkelstein's. That's just a test that we do for this right here. And so what this is it's just a big tendon that goes into your thumb right there, and it's surrounded by this sheath that kind of protects it, and that sheath just gets irritated and swollen and inflamed. And so people get really, this one's usually, it hurts to even touch just right at the skin because it's so sensitive. So that's a lot different. A lot of people kind of get that confused with thinking that they have a carpal tunnel, and carpal tunnel, like I said, you'll feel more right to the middle, right through here, into middle fingers right here. Whereas that one, you're gonna feel more on the side, right through the thumb right there. So then the golfers and the tennis elbow. Golfer's elbow is just named that just because it was really common with a lot of golfers, just because they did that repetitive motion swinging like that. You're going to feel that more right here on the inner side of your elbow, right through there. But it also will hurt with like gripping and squeezing, or if you're kind of flexing your wrist, so bringing it up. So if you had a grocery bag and you're carrying it and you're squeezing and you're resisting the bag wanting to go down, so basically you're doing flexion with your wrist, that's going to hurt right through here. So that's golfer's elbow. And then tennis elbow is on the side right here, the side of the elbow right there. And then that's the same thing as golfer's elbow, except that you're going to feel more with resisted extension like this. So you had a grocery bag and you're holding it like this, the grocery bag's trying to go down, making your wrist go down, and your wrist is resisting it pulling up. So that's going to hurt with that, and any kind of squeezing usually hurts too, just because when we squeeze those forearm muscles that go to either side of your elbow, they're innervated through here, through your wrist as well. So whenever we squeeze, those muscles are getting contracted as well, and they'll kind of pull right on those areas right there to be painful. So I'll talk about some ways to relieve all of these. There's a kind of general exercises that we'll start off with that are beneficial for any of those. And then we kind of break down a little bit more specific once we get into carpal tunnel or to de Quervain's, there's some more specific exercises for those, but to start off, they're pretty basic, similar exercises to start off. So usually what we'll like to do is do active range of motion at the very beginning to start off anything. Active range of motion is just you moving your wrist, just creating some blood flow to that area. So what we'll do is, a lot of people don't move the wrist to the full range of motion. So what we'll do is just active range of motion. So basically you're gonna go all the way down, all the way up, and do that 30 times, just back and forth, nice and easy. Try and go in a somewhat pain-free range of motion. If it hurts a little bit, it's okay. If it's starting to, you go down to here and it's starting to hurt really bad, obviously stop right there. So just go back and forth in a somewhat pain-free range of motion 30 times, just warming up the tissue, getting some blood flow through it. Then go side to side 30 times, same thing, in a somewhat pain-free range of motion. 30 times, just turning your palm up and down. We'll do 30 fist pumps. So basically just squeezing your palm, making a fist. So all that's doing is just getting a lot of blood flow to that area. It's stretching those tendons out just a little bit as you go up and down, side to side, and making the fist pumps. But doing those 30 times just kind of helps warm all that tissue up. Next, we like to do some stretches just to help stretch that tissue out. A lot of times if it's aggravated or strained, it's going to be tight. So we'll like to stretch it out a little bit. So always warm it up first with any of those range of motion ones are great. So whenever we stretch, we'll do a wrist stretch where we pull back on our fingers. On this one, I like to have my elbow straight because like with the golfers and the tennis elbow, all those muscles right here in your forearm cross your elbow joint. So whenever your elbow is bent, you kind of have them on slack a little bit, so you're not going to feel the stretch as much. But once your elbow is straight, you should feel the stretch a little bit more, even through your forearm right here. So hold it back for 30 seconds, just gently. I kind of just pull my fingers kind of into the palm of your hand. Hold for 30 seconds, a gentle stretch, and then relax. Do that 3 times, and then also push down. Same thing, have that elbow straight, push down, 30 seconds, 3 times. So this is good for the carpal tunnel, the de Quervain's, the tennis elbow, the golfer's elbow. On the tennis and the golfer's elbow, if these two hurt really bad, obviously just go to a somewhat pain-free stretch. I want it to feel, really light. Because on these two stretches, sometimes with the golfer's elbow and the tennis elbow, those will hurt a little bit more. So we don't want to aggravate the tissue that's already aggravated. So go in a somewhat pain-free range whenever you're doing those two stretches that way. You can also stretch into the other range of motions that we went, like the side to side, and then the palm up, palm down. So the side to side, you don't have to have the elbow straight. This one's fine to just kind of pull to the side like that. Make it gentle, 30 seconds 3 times. Pull into the other side, 30 seconds 3 times. And then turn in the palm up. You can kind of help it turn up 30 seconds 3 times. And you can help it turn down 30 seconds 3 times. All of those in a somewhat pain-free range of motion whenever you're doing those. 30 seconds 3 times on all the stretches are usually beneficial. De Quervain's, so the one with the thumb, we like to do a little bit more range of motion with the thumb. So what we'll do is our thumb can move in several planes of motion. So what we'll do is we'll do an opposition one where we kind of just reach across. So you may not be able to reach that far. If this is really aggravated, you may not be reaching all the way across like that. They may hurt really bad. So you may be just reaching as far as you can, or you may meet yourself in the middle with your pinky or your other fingers. Depending on how severe it is, you may want to just touch each finger like that, coming across and letting your thumb kind of reach so that it just kind of works that tendon just a little bit and gets some blood flow through that tendon. So reaching, like if we're going to do that, reach to each finger, doing that 10 times, give yourself a little break, doing 3 sets of that, that's a good one to do. So that's opposition, just kind of reaching across like that. We'll also just do thumb going straight out in front of you. So like if your thumb was just pointing straight out from your palm, that's getting range of motion in this thumb, and in another plane, and doing that one like 30 times is perfect. You can break it up into 10 times and 3 sets, that's also good. So if you need to stretch your thumb, you can pull back. So I kind of just place my index finger right here on the front of your thumb and then block it back here and then just pull back gently, 30 seconds, 3 times. This direction, if you're reaching across to your palm, you can stretch that way. That one is going to be more painful. So if that hurts too much, don't do that one yet. If it's just a mild pull on it and it's not painful and you feel a stretch, then go ahead and do it. But if you're going to reach across like this and then just add a little bit of pressure down, just going to help stretch that thumb tendon right there and hold that for 30 seconds, 3 times, then that'll help kind of stretch that big tendon that we're talking about for the de Quervains that people feel a lot right through here. Okay, so those are some good stretches and range of motions to start on. Strengthening wise, good ones to do, we can do with band, and you can do some putty exercises as well. So with a band, what we like to do is you can have a loop band, or you can have one single band that has a little handle on it, and I can get you any of those if you need any of them or if you don't have them. Amazon sells a lot of bands as well. You just want a really light band is all you want. So usually they're kind of color coded strength wise, at least for physical therapy wise. Usually there's a yellow one that's very, very light, and then there's a red one that's a little bit stronger, and then there's a green one, and then a blue, and then a black. That's kind of the coding of strength for bands for physical therapy. That's not always going to be the same for ones on like Amazon, like a Gold's Gym bands and stuff like that. Sometimes they're not color coded as ours are, but you want a light resistance band, something that's not too heavy. So with the wrist, we will do a wrist extension one. So what we'll do is put the band underneath our foot, have your forearm just kind of resting on your leg, and then we'll do wrist extension. So that's bringing the band up like this, extending your wrist. Kind of turn to the side so you can see it better. So doing 10 of those, and then give yourself a little break and do 3 sets of that. So that's wrist extension. And then wrist flexion, you turn your palm up. So now our palm is up and we're coming up towards us. Same thing, doing 10 times, doing 3 sets. Try to go in as much range of motion as you can with that. Try not to make it just a little motion like that. Go in as far range of motion as you can whenever you're doing these two right here. So that's wrist flexion and wrist extension. So the next two are radial and ulnar deviation. Basically, that's just when we did the range of motion where we went side to side with our wrist, those are the two that we're gonna do next. So what we'll do is you'll kind of have, like if you're gonna shake somebody's hand, put the band in there. So I'm shaking somebody's hand, and now we're gonna come straight up again. So 30 of those. And breaking it up into 3 sets of 10 is good too. So the next one is ulnar deviation. So basically, I'll show it with my left hand just so you can see it better. So basically, what I like to do is kind of put your foot in front a little bit more so that it changes the pull just a little. And so what you're gonna do is you're gonna hammer down with a band. It's like if you were hammering something, that motion right there. Doing 3 sets of 10 like that. You can also do this one holding it like this. Some people like to do this way better. So just get a little bit of tension on it, and then so if I'm working my left wrist on this one, so hold it like that and then hammer straight down. That gets you a pretty good line of pull too, so this one works pretty well. So doing 3 sets of 10. So you can also do the radial deviation one like this. So if I'm working, here I'll work my left again. So now I'm pulling up with it and then coming up this way. So usually we'll do all of those 4 bands for carpal tunnel, just to strengthen all those muscles around the carpal tunnel and then get a lot of blood flow through there. And we'll do that for even ulnar nerve, we'll do it for Finkelstein's, for de Quervains. So for the thumb one that we talked about, this one, these two right here, if you're coming up, specifically if you're going down, that one's usually a little bit more painful. So if that one hurts, let's not do it yet. So all of those bands are really good to do